Alright, Nia is safely at work. I was talking about fasting with her earlier, and a lot of Christians do this now. Well, not now. A lot of more hardcore Christians used to do it, but it seems to have gained a lot of popularity. And it doesn't take too long to get into. Like, when I first started doing it, I'd do like 6 or 8 hour fast, and these are like, waking time while you're awake. You just don't eat. Now, of course, when you sleep, you're fasting. I mean, that's why they call it break fast, first meal of the day. Although you should never fucking eat breakfast. It's the worst thing for you. It keeps you, it slows you right down, and it gets you, turns you into a waste treatment plant immediately. And the funny thing is like, your whole life, what do you hear? Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. That's another one of those things that you get told over and over again throughout your life. And it's another one of those things that when, with the proper lens fixed, that a lot of us now have, you look at it and you go, that don't make no fucking sense. You're just waking up, your body's burning really clean, A lot of people go to the bathroom when they wake up. It's gotten rid of everything. And now you're gonna fill yourself up with a bunch of food, and immediately your system is like, well, we better start working on this food. The 3 meal a day thing is crazy. Like, you just thinking about breakfast, you wake up, a lot of people eat kind of big. They always tell you that, eat a big breakfast. No. You have that stuff in there, your body's ignoring all its other problems because it's focused on trying to move this this foreign material out of your body. That's all food really is, You get some nutrients from it, of course, but it's negligible, especially these days with the diets people have in the West. A lot of them are starving on their feet because they eat garbage all day. They're eating a lot, they're getting fat, but they're not getting anything out of it, any nutrients out of it. So your body's dealing with this big breakfast thing. And right around noontime, when it's finally getting the last of it through the fucking pipes and moving it along, in comes lunch. And then same thing, your body works that all off. It's ignoring all the other problems it may have, that earache, that shoulder problem, gout, whatever the fuck you have. It's not doing any of that because it's a waste treatment plant at that point, And then you get through lunch, and then fucking 4 hours later, you're dumping more stuff on top of it. So all day, you're just processing food. It's not simple. There isn't anything else to it. I know there are people like dietitians that make a living off, promoting diets or selling information. It's a whole industry around eating, and it's a lot simpler than a lot of people imagine it is. You want to lose weight, eat less, So doing fasting, once I started over the 8 hour ones, it wasn't long before I was trying the 24 hour ones, and something happened around 22 hours where you get real hungry, and it's like, but if you can get through that little period, and it's not long, your body then goes into, I think it's ketosis, and it starts burning some of the fat, and it starts burning that fuel, and that fuel's a lot cleaner because in a way, it's already been processed. I don't know the exact chemical breakdown of this whole thing, but that's kind of what I understand in my layman's understanding of things when it comes to how your body breaks food down. So it just burns better, and you can feel it. Like, you get past that little thing where you're real hungry, and then like a couple hours later, you're like, I don't have to eat, I'm not hungry at all, and you feel better, and suddenly you have more energy. because it's not breaking down, you know, whatever you ate. It doesn't even matter what it is. It still has to break it down. Some things take longer, but it's breaking down fat storage or food storage that's already begun being broken down or stored somewhere else. So it's like better fuel. It burns better, and you feel better. Like, you know, I've gotten in a situation before, or quite a few times, where I don't have to eat. I wake up the next morning not hungry, afternoon not hungry. I'll get to a point where I'm like, I should probably eat something. But if you just stick with it, it gets that way, you know? I mean, there are people that I've run into over the years on the internet who claim that there was a time when we didn't need to eat food and we would get our nutrition just from sunlight, because that's the thing you're going to get the most out of, and that's why I always should not fuck with it. But if you look at a lot of these old buildings, there's no bathrooms. You know, London didn't have a sewer system until the 1800s. I mean, you look at these old Tatarian buildings, or what I call Tatarian buildings, some other flood era. I don't really know about the Tataria thing. I don't have enough information about it. I haven't studied enough to really make a educated guess one way or another, except that it's possible that there was a group of people who lived in all parts of the world, because these buildings have been there. And, you know, they always find new reasons to tear them down, whether it's a war or whether a World's Fair is closed. Oh yeah, all those giant buildings, yeah, that was just plaster. They were made of plaster of Paris. Yeah, but it doesn't matter what they're made of. You still had to, like, how did you get all that shit up there? How did you get your plaster of Paris statue at the top of the stage? It's fucking ridiculous. It's not fucking plaster of Paris. But none of these buildings had bathrooms. They didn't have any kind of plumbing. Now, if you have the ability to create some of these magnificent structures, you could figure out something for a bathroom. But they didn't need them. Because if they needed them, they would have put them in there. And then I have this other theory about from when this place used to be a school or a training ground, because it got me thinking about it, because this guy was doing one of these MDMA type things. I've never done that, but you go kind of interdimensional, and you go to places. It's almost like what you're like when you're dead, I guess, in some way. So this guy's talking about how he's just moving through the universe. He's traveling, and he's a ball of light, and he's like what we really are, you know. And he comes across this group of people in a clearing, and they're making castles. They're just like sitting around making castles with their mind, like just building these things and imagining these things. And it got me thinking, like, what if that's what was going on here? You know, when we used to have this place as a school, being trained as divine beings, before it went from being a school to being a farm, which is what it is now, a loose farm, to get all that low vibrational energy for the archons, you know. It's like the staff were God's people. And somewhere along the line, I think I told this, I've gone through this recently, and I was in the same spot, so I'm not going to go too into it, because a lot of times I feel like I'm repeating myself. And I mean, I know once in a while, like, new people will come by, but not many. It's usually just us, the same guys, you know. I was talking to someone in the comments last night, and I really appreciate when people engage with me there, because it's like ideas can be exchanged. And there's one, and I was telling them, like, it's so weird how so many of us have we're on the same kind of wavelength. We think so similarly and even use a lot of the same terminology. It's almost like we're all accessing the same cloud, which in effect, you know, I think we are in some way. But yeah, I don't know if it's weird, but like sometimes if someone vanishes, I just go to make sure that they're okay. You know, I've emailed people and stuff, and I like to get to know who people are, if they have families, what they do for a living. It's interesting to contrast and compare the thing they're going through and the thing I'm going through, and the things that we have in common, and maybe some things that I might learn from their experiences or vice versa, you know. Very valuable. But anyway, I don't like this. Sometimes I feel like I'm repeating myself, but yeah, in my opinion, it used to be a school, as Matt from Quantum of Conscience says. It was a Spartan training ground. I don't think it was that hardcore. I think it was more like it was a more relaxed kind of atmosphere. And the staff decided, hey, instead of training God's kid, which is basically what all of us are, we're all one thing, you know, we could suck that energy off them, and we could enrich ourselves here in this material realm and live like rulers, live like gods ourselves, instead of you know, working for God up in the heavens. Hey, what's up, man? How you doing? Good to see you, bro. And that guy's cool. He just had a baby. They could take that energy and enrich themselves with it here in the material realm, and they could be like gods here. So that's kind of what I think has happened. I'm not the first to have that theory, although there are some parts of it that I think are pretty exclusive to me. It's weird, like how you get this stuff, this information. A lot of times, like I call it found information, and it comes from quiet reflection. Some people use meditation. I cannot meditate as hard as I try. You know, I'll be sitting there and I'll try to get into that zone, and I'll just be like, did I leave the microwave on? I just got to move that napkin on the floor. It's driving me crazy. It's just, I can't do it. But I do have moments of quiet reflection. A lot of times I'll be laying in bed at night, not quite sleeping, just kind of sitting there. And these things that you have just come to you. They come to the surface. And I've often said, too, you have all these answers anyway. You have all the answers and all the questions coded into your DNA, like written on it, which is basically how a lot of stuff is. I mean, even normie science kind of explains it that way. So if you're looking for answers, sometimes just kind of put the thought out there and try to get some quiet time, and the stuff will come to you. And again, it's just like that thing, how truth has a frequency and lies have a frequency. Someone's telling you something, you just kind of have an idea, like that, oh, this guy's full of shit, or this guy's telling the truth. You don't know how you know, you just kind of know, because it's a frequency. You don't need to know the actual numerical part of the frequency, like how it's quantified, because as in the reverse, you're the architect, not the builder. You don't have to know exactly how the mechanics of how things work. That's not your part of it. So it's like a reverse of that. You just kind of know. And you can't really explain it to people. It's just, you just kind of know it, you know? I'm going to go in long, so I'll be back out. I'll be back out a little later. Until then, thanks for dropping by. And as always, don't blame the teacher, blame the school.